Overnight line movers, Teddy, SBRodds.com, your single best place on the internet to check out those line movements. As we like to say, they're always moving. How about this one here? Wednesday's Game 3 finals numbers posted. And I want to get your opinion on this, Teddy, because looking at it last night, they came out relatively fast. And we're talking about question marks. Will Kevin Durant return for Game 3? Will Klay Thompson be available for Game 3? Looney, who left the last game with a sprained shoulder, will he be ready? Looks like odd makers think they're going to be ready to win. -5.5. They open up total of 213.5. Money line split of +195, -235. Teddy, what say you on this opening line here, huh?
Well, let's talk about where it's moving right off the bat. Okay, there were a couple of books that opened 5 and a couple opened 5.5. And the market's immediately shifted to 5.5. And a couple of prominent books that cater to recreational players moved right to 6. And then we've definitely seen some buyback. And the wise guys who played Toronto in Game 1, who played Toronto in Game 2, are most assuredly looking to play Toronto in Game 3. And we're seeing already some of the buyback at the sharper shops, the 5.5s. Well, now there's juice to lay if you want to take it with Toronto. So we're seeing two-way action, but the initial move towards the Warriors from the opener has been mitigated by Toronto money ever since. From a total standpoint, this one opened, again, depending on the book, between 212.5, 214. It's settling right in between 213, which is obviously where Game 2 landed, right on that number of 213.
Teddy, we're going to go. Klay Thompson, we see the hamstring injury. We'll see if he's able to go. Looney, but Durant obviously is the biggest focal point here. When you hear Steve Kerr talk about some of the injuries, he says, look, it's a calf injury. If he injures it again, we're not going to see him again. So one of those injuries that I like to say is, break glass in case of an emergency. If they were down 0-2 going back to Oakland, I think he would force himself back in that lineup. But if obviously we are bettors, we are gamblers, we like to prognosticate and see what's going to happen. Do you think Steve Kerr puts him back in, or is it maybe even a little bit more pressure on seeing how Klay Thompson has now been injured as well, Teddy?
Yeah, I mean, the first report's on Thompson. Thompson says he's going to be fine. People think he's going to be fine. And it wasn't, at the time, it looked like it hurt, but it didn't look like, okay, this is going to kill him for the rest of the finals, as opposed to the Durant injury. But if Thompson isn't good to go, maybe the effort, maybe Kerr is thinking about, hey, let's get Durant into this lineup. And look, you hate to bring a guy back who hasn't played in months and stick him in the NBA Finals, but on the other hand, that guy's Kevin Durant. He's going to make your team better. And I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not expecting it, but I wouldn't be shocked to see Durant suit up in Game 3. If he does, this number likely to go up.
Yeah, Cousins parachuted into the finals. Took him a game to get his wheels under him, and then Game 2 looked like he had a pretty good game. How about we talk a little bit of Major League Baseball, some live mood here. Makeup game at Wrigley here on Monday, Teddy, with the wind blowing in. Cubs opened up right around a 150 favorite, rose to around 160. We're taking a look at SBRodds.com right now. Looks like in that mid-160 range, pushing 170s, and a total of 9. Going to be an opener on the mound with Bedrosian versus Lester, the lefty.
Yeah, of course, these two teams split the first two of their 3-game set. And then we had a rain out on the last day, which means that two teams that were supposed to get a day off today end up playing an afternoon affair in Chicago. And this is tough for the Angels in terms of travel. All right. They literally have a 3.5-week stretch where they're on the West Coast, either at home or playing one of the West Coast teams. And now all of a sudden, a flight back east for this single early start game and then flying back. Joe Madden. I know it's tough for them. They've got to go west, to go east, to go right back. And that's really what this line move was all about, even though Chicago stinks right now. They've lost 8 of 10, and they're batting 183 and scoring 8 runs in their last 4 ball games, where the Angels are red hot. Doesn't matter. The markets don't like the spot for L.A., hence the money coming for Chicago.
Mariners seeing a little bit of line movement on Monday, Teddy. Markets open up at -135, sit at 140. We do have an asterisk here on this game. As you guys know, we do film this show a little bit earlier in the day. Supposed to be Martin versus LeBlanc, but now showing up on some sites here is undecided for Seattle. So we'll proceed as normal here, Teddy, as if LeBlanc is going to start this game. Total of 9.5. The Mariners in sell-off mode here, Teddy. Can we back these guys?
No. The Mariners are unbackable. Again, 13-2. To open the season. They're 12-35 since. They're 16 games back. They're in the last place in the division. And Scott Cervé went nuts yesterday. Yesterday, they lead the majors in errors. The 10th time in the last 33 games they allowed 10 or more runs. Quote, some defensive plays, some things we didn't make good decisions on ended up turning into a big inning again. We've seen that. We played this game a few times this year, and I've about had enough of it, quite frankly. When you don't throw strikes and you don't play defense, you don't make plays, it's hard to watch. You have ups and downs with the bat, but you have to make the plays and throw strikes. When you don't, it's bad baseball. I know we're young in some spots and experienced in some other spots, but you have to continue to do the right things. It's about throwing it over the plate and catching the ball. All right, so maybe it's a step-up spot for Seattle. Yeah, the guy who I'm seeing as the starter, listed as starter, is Bedrosian, but it looks like LeBlanc is going to come in and get the ball next. Corbin Martin's not exactly a bet-on guy for Houston. That being said, Seattle hasn't shown any signs of being a bet-on team, hence the lack of money for the Mariners.